not everybody got to come with a bag.
If I meet someone, the first thing I do is I Google them.
Oh, well, hell, Project Find Mauri a man. I'm Mauri Goins.
And I'm Dina Blair.
We're single moms.
Living life for the first time, just like our kids.
Real talk from the carpool to the crib.
A podcast about single motherhood,
Black womanhood,
and everything in between.
And maybe we can make your way in the pickup line a little more bearable. Hey guys, welcome to the pickup line with Mauri and Dina. From the crib to the carpool. We just want to thank you guys so much because our divorce episode sparked a lot of questions. We've had a couple of requests on talking about dating, going back to dating 101, how it used to be old school, Dina, when we were I guess college, high school. Social media has made so many different changes to dating now that we've got a lot of questions and people want a lot of answers about how do you date with a family as a single mom and without a family. People are just curious about this dating scene now.
Mm-hmm. And it's evolved so much. When we talk about dating 101 and trying to go back to the good old days, I guess. How do you do that when now you have social media, you have the internet? And I'll admit to this, if someone's interested in me or if I meet someone, the first thing I do is I Google them.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sure that you're not the only person.
Yeah, why not?
I'm sure you're not, the only person in the world that is I'm kind of curious about who's calling me or who's not. I think back in the day, we had to just trust the fact that, when somebody pulled up on you on the side, say you're at the stoplight, somebody pulls up and they're like, hey, can I get your number? And then you're like, yeah. And then you yelling your number out the window or something, right? Or somebody's trying to get a piece of paper. She'll write down your number.
Yeah.
I think now it's not as genuine. It's not as, I guess, kind of enduring, the whole dating process. Well, it's somebody's going to slide in your DMs.
Yeah. In theory, now people have access to so many different people all at once.
Correct.
Right. So because you're looking at social media, whatever platform you're on, you basically have access to all these different people. Whereas if you're just driving down the road, you're not going to, every person you meet, you're not going to be able to ask them out.
It's kind of weird. So say if you're say if you're at the Braves game or you're in a stadium and you're on an app like Tinder or something, how many people in there are swiping? What is happening? What happened to walking up to somebody at the concession stand and saying, hey, my name is Sarah. Hey, my name is Robert.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? How you doing? And you strike up a conversation instead of let me swipe right or swipe left. I don't know because I'm not on the dating apps to say what it is. But I think that we need to get back to basic dating 101 where it's hey, how are you? You want to grab a bite to eat? Want to get a coffee?
Yeah. So what does that look like? Let's talk about what dating, if we're talking about going back in the day and what dating 101 really looks like. So how do we merge the two together? How do we merge dating 101 back in the day prior to social media, prior to slide into DM and then incorporating some of the, good old fashioned stuff?
I don't know if it's that men are afraid to approach women or if they feel like women should approach them. I know I have a couple friends that are on the dating sites and it's all they want to do is text me. Nobody wants to meet me. They just want to keep texting. And I don't know if that's called catfishing or maybe somebody's catfishing you. I don't really know that term, but I'm using it. Okay. Don't get me. And I don't know if they're showing who they really are. Right? So maybe you have a photograph of you that's kind of twisted and turned. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not really as tall as you say you are. Maybe, with women, they switch their hair up so many times, right? We don't really know what your real hair looks like, right? We don't know what you look like. So I think that maybe that could be one reason people don't want to show you who they really are, but they still want to maybe have a texting companion. I don't know. Maybe that's stupid.
The way of merging the two together would be, maybe you do meet someone in a dating app and you do start out texting, but then to merge the two together would be let's schedule a time to get together and grab coffee, the safe coffee date or the safe lunch date that's not as committed as like a dinner date. Dinner dates can go on a little bit longer, I think. So I think merging the two together, where it's like maybe you met someone on the dating app and you're interested, then maybe you text a couple of times just to ask a few general questions to see how maybe you're compatible.
Or now you call?
Yeah, but do that after, right?
Somebody, can we phone?
Like do that after. Like if you're looking to incorporate both, then text initially and then be like, hey, let's have a quick phone call. So I have friends who are on the dating apps as well. And that's what they typically do. It starts off like they swipe. They're on the one that where I guess the woman picks or something like that. I can't remember. Bumble, I think is the name of that one. But we sound so ignorant when it comes to this. But anyway, y'all tell us. So anyway,
Or y'all get us.
right, they choose the guy, and so they'll do that, and then they'll connect on the app, and then they start off with a text, and then they have a phone call, and then from the phone call, they decide like, okay, let's move forward and have lunch or coffee or whatever. So I think that's a way to merge it together.
This is a great question for our audience as well. How many times do you think you should text? How long do you think you should text before there should be a physical introduction? Before the two of you should sit down and have coffee, have lunch, have a drink? Do you think it should be dinner right away? You think it should be coffee right away? How long do you think that initial texting should go on?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the number is, but I feel like when you have the first text or two, hop on a phone call.
I think that's great. I think
like if you think there's an interest there, like hop on a phone call and hear the person's voice and ask questions. It's like the apps have become not just like the dating apps, but also social media has become that friend that introduced you to the person. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when you met someone, it was like, oh, this is my friend so and so, and you got to meet my girl Mauri. It was like that.
Yeah, and I think that's better because it's kind of nice to get up in the morning and hear somebody say good morning, right? If you're single and you
text good morning,
not the text good morning, like hello, good morning, how you doing? Hope you have a good day.
I'm guilty of the good morning text.
I think that's sweet. Like I think the text is cool, but I think that in dating, just me, I think in dating there needs to be a little more effort. Because I think that you should date your wife. And I think wives should date their husbands. I think that if you take the newness and the freshness out of the relationship, especially if you have kids, it begins to dissolve.
Yeah.
So I think that it should be a date night with your husband or your wife. I think it should be a date night with your girlfriend or your boyfriend that you're in a relationship with to keep it going. And then I think that after all the texting, I mean, you can only text so long. And don't hide behind the text. Don't be the type that's got a Benz, living in an apartment, so, acting like you've fallen and you really ain't. Like, see, that's why you need to meet somebody.
That's catfishing, I think. I think that's the definition of
that's why you need to meet somebody and get to know how they're living. Because, I mean, it goes both ways, but one person may not be one to take care of the other person. So I think that if you see each other face to face, just like we're having this conversation, at some point, you've got to know the truth. Like, you can only hide the truth for so long. But maybe that's why a lot of people hide behind their texts. I don't know.
Maybe. So what would be an example, maybe you've experienced this or someone has shared with you, like what would be an example of a time that you or someone you know was like courted in a way that you're like, yeah, that's dating 101. Like every guy should do this, or every woman should do this.
I'm going to give an example. My daughter's boyfriend, because the two of them travel a lot, she would come home and there would be flowers there for her, and he would pick her up from the airport. And now, somebody be like, you can Uber home. Like, come on.
No. But even the gesture, but even before they got to that point, like that's keeping the relationship going. Like that's dating while you're in the relationship. But even before that, like, how did he get her attention to get to that point? Like, what did he do? Or maybe not him. Like maybe it's a different example of someone that you were with or someone that you know of the experience. Like I remember a guy that when I was in college, and I probably should have actually dated him, but he was very, very sweet. And I'll never forget, he would always open the doors for me. I can't even remember where we met. I think maybe at like the general area. But he would come to my dorm and we had hours, like we couldn't have like guys in our dorm after a certain hour or whatever. And he would let them know that he was there, and he was like downstairs outside. I looked out my window and he's there holding a dozen roses. And I was like,
I remember in college one time there was a guy that liked me. And one of my friends is going to be laughing when I tell this story. He is going to be dying. He used to ride the bus to see me.
yeah.
He would get on the MARTR and come to my house to see me. And I was like, this is weird, but it was cool. And he was a nice guy. I didn't end up with him, but he was a really, really nice guy.
But why? That's another conversation. Like, why not with the nice guy? Like, this guy I'm talking about was really nice, but we never dated. Like, why not?
I think that he and I just faded away. Like, it was kind of like, I wasn't really ready for him. He wasn't really ready for me. And
Right.
I was working all the time and going to school because I had to survive. Right. And that probably took a toll in it, for me. But in college, I would say, yeah, my boyfriends bought me flowers. They did nice things for me. I'm really big on cards. I think a card is very sweet. If somebody writes me a card, somebody writes me a note. I remember one time I was dating a guy and we went out to eat, and this is so funny. It was Outback Steakhouse. And we walk in the restaurant and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm a little nervous, right? Because I'm like, okay, this is cool, but we're at Outback, whatever. And I like Outback. And I go to sit down. He slid right next to me in the booth. That happened to me too. And I was like,
I actually just saw an article about,
are you going to sit on the other side? And he was like, no, I'm sitting by you. And honestly, I got to say, we were together forever. We were together for a long time after that. He sat right next to me and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think there's culturally that's something too.
This is cool.
But let's rewind even further back then. So how do men, if they're doing dating 101, old school dating, how do they get to the point where they can even get a date?
I think that, okay, I'm old school and I like an OG. Like, I mean, it is nothing like that swag. I mean, Obama is the best example of swag I can give you right now ever. I like a man that is like, hey, baby, how you doing? He just walks in the room and shuts it down. It's like opening the car door. It's like making sure I have everything I need. If it's like he can pick a really good bottle of wine and he's like, hey, I think that there's something to be said about that man. I think it's something to be said about a grown-ass man, right? That's not playing games.
Right.
That knows what he wants, that knows who he is, and he's not intimidated by anything or anyone else. I think that's sexy. And I think that's where if our men could get back to that, I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're dating multiracial, if you're dating the same sex. If you take control and you see somebody that you want to talk to or you want to be with or that you feel like catches your eye, I say go for it.
And show some interest.
100%.
Show some interest in them by, like you said, picking up the phone and saying, hey, good morning. How is your day? And I think if a man is interested, that they will remember to be able to go on the date. Like they'll remember things about you that maybe you talked about in a conversation. So say prior to, you're just getting to know each other on the phone. And maybe you say, well, have this going on at work, or, my daughter has a soccer game, or my daughter's in a play. And that's why, I can't get together this weekend, whatever. And he remembers that. And he's like, oh, how the kid go? It's like that, showing that interest. It can get you
makes you
further.
even more attracted to that person.
Because you're listening.
Yes. Because and I'm gonna just say I talk a lot. So I'm like, I might have told you my whole story. And if you can remember that, that's great. Right? If you can just remember the little things about me. Not everybody gotta come with a bag. Not everybody got to come with, bring it like the world says. I think that if we just allow men and women to be kind to each other, to be nice to each other, to be enduring, to be like, oh my God, you look nice today. I remember I was dating this guy and I will never forget this. And he and I had went shopping and we were in the store and, I'm a tomboy. I am a tomboy. When I will dress up when it's necessary. Like I can bring it when it's necessary. I'm like a chameleon. I can change.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the store shopping, and I like this guy. I mean, he was nice. And I went and I was like, I forgot my sunglasses. So I went to get me some sunglasses. Yes, girl. And I have taste. I just want to say this, people, I have taste. I saw the flies black on black Gucci sunglasses. I'm like, that's it right there. Because I wasn't in the mood to be glamazon. I wasn't trying to be glamorous that whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need the gold frames with the big, fearless fly look. I just wanted some understated, clean, classic sunglasses. So I get the glasses. I'm in love with the glasses. Like I'm feeling like I'm fly, right? I'm like, I'm so fresh. We go to lunch with some friends. This Negro asked my friend, he's like, hey, do you really like those sunglasses she's got on? And she was like, yeah, I love them. I think they're fly. He goes, I don't. I just didn't want to tell her that in the store.
So he tells you in front of your friends?
Red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Red flag. Because you could have said to me, hey, babe, I don't really like those. I mean, I like the other style better, but I didn't get the sunglasses for him to like anyway. I got the sunglasses for me to like.
Yeah.
But that wasn't cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's like playing games.
Mm.
So we don't need to do that. But I think that if we learn how to talk to each other, be friends first. And my friend would have said, girl, those aren't the best glasses, even though they were. Like, even though they were the glasses, you don't even pick out no sketch glasses.
Right.
Right? You just know I didn't, right?
Yes.
But that was his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, but you didn't have to bust me out in front of the whole table. You could have just said it on the side, but I guess that's why we're not together.
So yeah, and so you're talking about being respectful. Once you're in a relationship with someone, like be respectful. And we always talk about, when we talk about relationships, we always say it's better to be friends
100%
first and really build on that friendship and get to know that person. So yeah, I
But even when it's new, like, so dating is new.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is a new stage of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When that stage of the relationship is new, you have to be conscious of the things that you say to the other person, because words matter. Words hurt. Like, people can say things to other people that can either make or break their confidence. Luckily, I'm a strong woman and it didn't break my confidence. Right. Like, I know what I bring to the table, so that didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're dating, you need to be mindful of those people. Like, right? You don't want somebody that's like, if you say to somebody, I'll call you back, call them back.
Right.
Don't have them sitting there waiting. Don't have them like wondering,
I'm such a literal person too. When somebody says something to me, I take it like literally. Like if you're like, okay, I'll call you back in a few minutes. I'm like, okay, they're gonna call me back. Now as I've gotten, mature, I'm like not so attached to those words, because I know like life happens or something came up, and it's not like you don't take it personally. So that I would say before you start dating someone is really know who you are and be super grounded in who you are. Because once you do that, you're able to really determine like what's real with the person that you're actually dating or considering
also
dating.
Women, be dated. Let somebody date you.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually date you, not hook up with you. Let somebody like...
You should probably say that again.
Yeah. Yes. Let somebody date you. Be nice to you. Not hook up with you. Don't start sending pictures like, ass pics and all this stuff. Like, so as soon as you meet somebody, right? So that
don't ask for them either.
I think that people that are really trying to date are having a hard time with just social media, because you could be in a relationship with somebody. I mean, Cardi said it best herself. Y'all was dating my man. I wasn't mad, right? But you could be in a relationship with somebody, and he could be in a texting relationship with somebody else. And I think that if we're going to go back to dating, my grandmother used to always tell me this. She would say, when a man loves a woman, there's nothing he won't do. There is nothing he won't do for her. There's no mountain he won't climb. There is nothing that man will not do for that woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that to be true in any relationship. When somebody is interested in you, you know it.
Yeah, that's not to say they're not, but that's not to say they're not interested in someone else too. I think people should, if you're dating, people should be honest about what they're doing. You know, I'm big on that. So if I'm dating, someone, like we're going out to dinner or whatever, and I'm dating someone else too, you know, like I don't
Say it.
yes, say it. And vice versa.
Say it. I told my son when he was young and he was in high school, I said, son, you can be everybody's friend. You can be everybody's friend. You cannot be everybody's man.
That's right.
And do not come home treating a woman bad. Do not do that. I mean, you can be her friend and leave it at that. Because when I tell you this, I tell people this all the time. You're either married or you're not. Right? And that is the highest commitment you can get to. And in order to get married, you got to have a date. You've got to start with dating 101, bring it back to the basics. Like I remember I used to be so excited to fly in the city to see my boyfriend. And I would be like, I remember getting off the plane and he would be there to pick me up. I was like, I love him.
I went into the bathroom before he gets there. You get to, he's like, make sure everything is like.
I had that twinkle in my eye. And I was like, you know, I mean, we're dating. And sometimes I know girls that date people that they were like, for instance, like how both of us had our hair curly today. We were like, we're not doing hair today. We're not doing hair today, right? And I know guys that are like, yeah, I don't like that look.
Oh, definitely dated guys who don't like it when I wear my hair curly.
Yeah, I don't like that look.
But whatever.
Well, okay.
But that shouldn't, that doesn't change.
Exactly. You ain't take me to dinner because you don't like my hair?
Well, and it shouldn't change, you know, how you feel about me. Like you can express that's how you don't like my hair this way. That's fine. But it doesn't change. You're not loving me because of my hair.
And I remember another friend of mine, a guy, he told me, he was like, Mauri, if a man tells you he don't like a weed, he's lying. If a man tells you he don't like white girls, he's lying. If a man tells you he don't like your hair curly, he's lying. Men like anything. It just depends on the time.
What's time of what?
What mood he's in. Like how he's feeling that day, right? Because guys would be like, yeah, I don't date girls like that. Yeah, we just don't know you do.
Right.
But you do. You just ain't telling us. Because you want us to think that it's all about us. Right? And I'm just like, be honest. Just say how you're feeling. Talk about it. Like if we're not going to date, then we can be friends. But I don't think the relationship should get to the point where it's so bad that you don't end up friends.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a disastrous date. Like if you see and you know from the beginning that you're not interested in somebody, don't play with them.
Right.
Don't play with them. Just end it.
That's why it's important to know yourself before you start dating people. So I would say, number one, before you start dating, know who you are.
Yourself.
Well, but that's just part of
When
growing.
you're in high school, you don't know yourself.
That's part of growing up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we're talking to adults right now about dating. Like we're not talking to a 16-year-old or 18-year-old or a 20-year-old about dating. But if you are in college, you do need to know what you're looking for, like have an idea. And what that means is you got to know who you are. Because as you start dating, if you're not at least somewhat grounded in what is important to you, you'll be dating everybody.
And dating in college now, you know, let somebody know your location. Let somebody know where you're at.
Yeah.
Share your Uber ride with somebody.
Even if you're not in college.
Just make sure you're covered on that end, right? Or meet the person. That's what I did when I dated. I met the person where I was going. I didn't usually say, yeah, here's my address, pick me up. I remember in college, me and my roommate, we had this one girl, she would always go on dates. And we'd be looking out the window to look at the tag number. Oh, yeah. Did you get the tag?
You have to write it down.
Yeah, you got to write it down. Did you get the tag?
Now I take a picture.
Number. So it's like, yeah, like that's cool. And if you meet somebody at a bar, just watch your drink. It's okay to talk to guys at the bar and shoot the stuff. You know, you never know where your husband is. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know when you're going to meet him. I think dating with kids is a little difficult because I remember dating a guy, he was mad at me. He was like, what's wrong with you? Why do you never introduce your kids to whoever you're dating? And I'm like, because I'm just not bringing anybody in my house to meet my kids. Like if you've met my kids and you probably know who you are if you see this video, then there had to be something in it. right? Because not everybody gets to meet my kids. And there's a few guys that I've dated and my kids met them and I told them that was my friend because it was the truth. They were my friend. It wasn't my boyfriend. He was my friend. So how do you feel about dating with kids?
Well, it's been a shift for me, because I've never dated with kids before. So we talked about this, I think, before. So it's like before I got married, I didn't have children. And I didn't really date anyone that had children either until I got married because he has a daughter. And so it's been a shift. So for me, my focus definitely it's been a challenge kind of like getting that balance, but my focus certainly my children. So I prescribe to not introducing my children to people that I'm just going out on a date with. Do they know I've been on dates? Yes. But I haven't really had a boyfriend per se that I would, hey, this is mom's boyfriend. But if I were dating someone seriously, where I thought that, it was a relationship, it was going to go somewhere, then I would certainly introduce the girls to that guy. But for now, I'm just, I'll go out on a date and it's just mom's going out, and that's where it ends.
And they've never met anybody you dated?
Mm-mm.
Wow. My kids met one guy that I've dated, and that was awkward. And Lord have mercy, I'm not dating him anymore because Gracie was like not having it.
Right.
It's difficult for my kids to see that because it's a time constraint. Like it's like I'm not used to my mother being in this situation. I mean, we went to therapy over it. We talked about it, and it's healthy for you to date. It's healthy for people to date, and healthy for you to go out and get dressed up and feel like you have a reason to look pretty for whomever. You can do that with your girlfriends as well. But I think that that's really healthy. And I don't think that hiding the fact that you want to be or want to get into a relationship is good for anybody, ladies, just in case that's happening, because I think the kids should be a part of the process, right? When I felt like, and this is somebody that I had dated like 30 years ago, when I felt like it was time to introduce them, I did introduce them.
Right.
I let them meet them. And then after that, I let the cards fall where they may.
Well, there's a little bit of you're comfortable with that person because you knew him years ago, right? So
kids.
introducing him was kind of like
To his kids.
Yeah, I love it's different than someone new, like someone that you've been dating for maybe a few months and you didn't know them 30 years ago. That's a different scenario, I think. Like, I don't know that you would have brought them and introduced that person to your kids had it not been someone that you knew from.
Never.
So, right? That's just different. And then there are women who date. I have a friend who's a single mom and she's had a few different boyfriends, and her girls have met the boyfriends that she was like, this is my boyfriend,
And a lot of women that introduce their kids to their boyfriends. I mean,
well, I think that's good to a point, but is it everybody? Like, you don't introduce them to everybody you're going out with, do you? I don't know.
I just first of all would hesitate my girls waking up to just some strange man. Like that's just not gonna happen. Like it's just not an option for me, right? So when I meet you, I don't really tell much about my life. I tell a little bit about my life, but I let the person know that I'm dating. The most important thing in my life is my kids.
Right.
And I also let the person that I'm dating, I also let them know that where my kids are, their dad is going to be there. Like, so everybody's going to have to learn how to get along. Right? The dad's going to have to get along with the boyfriend. The boyfriend's going to have to get along with the dad. And at some point, I will have to get along with whoever he's with whenever that point comes. And I feel like that person should be around my kids. I think that's fair to say that he'll move on with his life. I'll move on with my life. But at the end of the day, we're all still going to be a family. Right? But, whoever I deal with or whoever is in my life will have to deal with that. So as I'm dating him or her, and I'm not dating her, I'm dating him. You're gonna have to know that my lifestyle, like people should know what the lifestyle is. My lifestyle is not gonna change because of who I'm dating or who I had kids with. That's just real talk. Like,
okay, so if you had to I kind of asked this before, but I want to circle back. Like if you had to do like a step by step and you're looking at the qualities of someone
Mhm.
who you would consider dating, like what are the steps that person takes? What does that look like? So you met a friend introduced you. So, and then from there, you guys maybe start, with phone calls and getting to know each other that way. How, so then what happens? Like, how does he, what does he do to be able to get you to agree to going out on a date? You get what I'm asking?
Mm-mm.
So you guys have met. So say I introduce you to someone
Mhm.
and you guys start, he sends you a text message. Hey, great meeting you. So from there, dating 101, how does he proceed from the text message?
Conversation.
So he should
Communication.
pick up the phone and
He
have
should
a
pick
phone
up the
call
phone
with
and
you.
call. He should pick up any man dating a woman or any whatever the relationship is. I don't know, because I mean you could be gay, straight, whatever. This podcast is for everybody.
Mhm.
Anybody pursuing a relationship with another person should communicate, have a conversation,
Mhm.
get to know people. I remember when I first met my kid's dad, I will never forget his mom said, well, dang, who is this girl? Because y'all been on the phone for like 20 hours. We talked on the phone
Right.
forever.
Right.
I mean, we started on the phone later that night and didn't get off the phone till the next day or the next morning
Mhm.
when his mom got up and she was like, you still on? Even I was like, am I still on the phone?
Right.
Because, I mean, I just never had that much in common with somebody. And we talked. And I think that helped, right? Because we were long distance, but even if it was long distance and you can communicate and you can FaceTime now,
Mhm.
you can get to know somebody.
Yes.
So if you can't set up an initial date, FaceTime.
Right.
Do whatever you need to do to get the result you want.
So that would be a way of checking and saying, okay, move on to the next step. Like if you're able to have a conversation with this person, you see that you have common interests, then we're like, okay, proceed.
Right.
Right.
I
Proceed.
mean, I think
and then
you would
set the date.
okay, if you're in a job interview and you're going to a job interview and you're going to a corporate office and you walk in there with fishnets and stilettos and like looking crazy, you already know. They already know we're probably not going to hire this person.
Right.
Right. But I think young people are so comfortable with the slide in my DMs and the text me and the, holla at me or you want to hook up or, you want to, I mean, it's like almost like, do y'all have respect for relationships anymore? Because we have to get to the point where we respect relationships
Mhm.
and we respect other people's relationships,
Mm.
right? Not just
That was a different,
that's a whole nother show, right? That's a whole nother show. But we have to respect other people's relationships.
yes.
Right? I mean, everybody is so enthralled with that show, The Hunting Wives.
Mm.
Like everybody loves The Hunting Wives.
I haven't seen it.
Exactly. I got through 2 episodes, and trust me, honey, I am not gonna walk past a hot tub of women with my husband and say, "Baby, make sure you treat him right." That is not hell no. That shit is not happening over here.
I'm so confused.
Okay, so you haven't seen it.
No.
People that have seen The Hunting Wives know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing my husband with the whole world ever.
Right.
Right? So then maybe that's why I'm not married.
Well,
And maybe that's why I've never been married.
I think it's like an oxymoron. Like,
But it's what young people are being fed.
right. So then this is where
what they're being fed.
They start here by raising the bar,
Yes.
accepting, sliding.
Yes.
Well, I don't even know if because that's a way that people meet each other, right? Through DMs. Like that's how they meet each other.
Yes, but whatever happened to, remember the movie Hitched with Will Smith?
Mhm.
And they had dating coaches?
Yeah.
There was the Millionaire Matchmaker.
Yeah.
There's Auntie Sumba from Mumbai. Like, there are ways to meet people other than,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And I think, I mean, I'm just going to go back to Bible 101. He who finds a wife,
Mhm.
not she who finds a husband.
Mhm.
I think God has his perfect timing for everybody. And I think there's a whole lot of lonely people in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that at some point God has somebody for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that if we get out of our shells, I mean, Joel Osteen talks about this a lot. If we get out of our shells about having a perfect relationship, there's never going to be a perfect relationship.
No, there's not.
You know, I mean,
It's a choice too.
my mother had 4 kids. My stepfather had 5. We all grew up together, right? We had ups and downs and situations. And, you know, I was raised with my stepfather and my stepbrothers and sisters. She could have told him no because he had 5 kids. And he could have damn sure told her no because she had 4. But they worked it out. And I think that once we stop looking for perfection, you know, because right now every girl on the internet looks like, everybody's eyebrows are alike.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can get their hair alike. Everybody wants their body like, right? It's like,
So realistically, people are sliding into DMs and they are getting, I don't know what they say in the DMs, they meet whatever they say, but how do you sift through that? Because that's the reality of how people are dating now. They're meeting people through, you know, messaging somebody DM.
my damn.
But how do you, but that's happening though. So that's how people are meeting people. That's how they're going on dates. So how do you sift through somebody comes into your DM?
You know, I guess that's okay if you're long distance, right? So I guess if somebody from London sees you or sees us on this podcast and says, hey, you know, how are you? I guess it would be like, you want, like, are we going to just talk on a DM? Are you going to have a conversation?
The question.
I don't know. I can't answer that. Maybe we have a guest on that tells us that, because
An expert.
I don't really know the answer to that, but I do know that if that's a first initial, hey, I just saw you on this, how are you? Can I meet you? But then there are also a lot of people that you meet on the internet that aren't real,
Oh yeah.
that are not real.
Yeah, that's
So you have to get to you know, figure it out. I guess you got to figure out if the person's real or not. You got to figure out if it's worth it or not. You got to figure out if you're going to take that risk.
yeah.
Right. But I think if it's another scenario and you meet somebody in the grocery store and you see this like beautiful woman or this fine man, hey,
Yeah.
I mean, somebody got to say, hey, if they don't have a wedding ring on. Now, you know, there's a lot of people that'll say, hey, with a ring on. And I'm just not doing that.
Or there are a lot that say, hey, that aren't wearing their ring, but they're married.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a whole other show too.
Yeah. That's just opening up a can of worms that you don't want.
No.
At all.
No.
So I think that we're going to continue this conversation with Dating 101. And maybe we'll just get some feedback from the audience, from you guys.
Well, yeah.
What you guys think and how comfortable you are, because I just think it's discouraging for single people to find people. I think everybody's like, well, where do you find them at? I mean, and if you go to dinner and you can see apps on Instagram that tell you places that you can meet men, places that you can do this. And I think that men and women shouldn't be afraid to approach one another. Like at church, they have a singles coffee every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to get up the courage to go.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's like take a step to go,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't, you know, God didn't intend for us to be alone.
Yeah.
He didn't intend for us to die alone. He didn't intend for us to, you know, to just wilt away and not enjoy the most powerful thing in the world, and that's love.
Yeah. Along the same lines too, I would say meeting people, places where you have your hobbies, you know, so if you are a philanthropist or if you know, like art, like going to different events, you know, that are around your hobbies, because then you'll meet someone who is also most likely has the same hobbies as you.
I had drinks with a volleyball mom a couple weeks ago. It was a couple weeks ago. And she and I were talking, and they always think I'm married. And I'm like, no, I'm not married. And they're like, you're not? I'm like, no, I'm not married. And she was like, well, Mauri, are you dating? And I'm like, not really.
The question.
And she's like, oh, well, hell, Project Find Mauri a Man. Find Mauri a Man. And I was like, what? She goes, would you be open to it? And I'm like, yeah. Tuning into this episode of The Pickup Line.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch us.
And listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.